Hi guys, hi all four, but hopefully soon more of you. Today I'm going to be talking on here about pricing your worth and your creative crust. And I'm going to be wonderfully joined by one of my longtime friends, which is such a weird thing to say now because I've known him just for so long. Jimbo, which I also used to say his name was Jimbo Bernaus because that's just rolled off the tongue. And so, yeah, I'm going to get him on right now.
Doing the thing. Yes, it works. I'm just going to do call waiting music. Oh my God, he's here.
Hello.
Hi. So
Hi.
I'm going to be completely honest in saying we were having a sneaky, cheeky chat before. Because it's not smoke and mirrors here. We're all that.
Yeah, dude. Hey, can you repeat my name and surname altogether?
No.
You said. Did you say Jimbo?
Jimbo
Huh?
Bernaus.
Okay, that's good.
But I used to, because Instagram puts it all together, I used to say Jimbo Bernaus. And that
Jimbo
was
Bernaus.
just that's who you were in my house for a while there. It was like, oh yeah,
You-
Jimbo Bernaus. It was just one word.
It's such a pretty long name, though.
Yeah, definitely. But if it works, why not?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So thank you so much for jumping on here. You're actually my first guest of my I think I called it a slice of advice. No, you know what? It's not going to have the light. Doesn't matter.
That
You are
that
my
that's good,
first.
actually. Everything gets
Okay,
better
good,
from here. Everything gets better from
good.
here. So I'm like, no
We're
pressure
starting
here.
here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of calling this Instagram sessions a slice of advice, playing on pie and food because we all love food, and I kind of wanted to jump on with creatives that I have worked with, chatted with. We all kind of work in same or similar industries. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm super excited. I didn't think I didn't do a live in Instagram for I don't know over 2 years or something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
super awesome.
Well, I think this is my second live. I think my first one was with Tom Ross, but that was way back when, and I don't remember. Like it was different studio, different place, different space, different time. Pre-COVID, which feels like a really long time ago. Like a really long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. So right now I'm in Barcelona, and it was pretty bad here. Yeah, regarding COVID and all that. But they
Mm,
just opened the bars and everything, and now we
that's
are kind of
important.
free. And yeah, my mental health just gone over the roof. I'm super happy, and yeah, it's been a wonderful morning already. I mean, it's 10 here, so
Yeah, it's 6 p.m. here, so
it's
I
gonna
walked
be good to
outside before.
yeah. I mean,
Nice.
yeah. So yeah, super excited to be here. Yeah, you can start
Wicked.
firing. There you go.
Yes. So I sent you a couple of questions beforehand, but we're going to just go off the cuff because we do. That's what we do.
That's what we do,
So
exactly.
how do you prefer to price your projects? So I know that you do so many different things and offer so many different things to your clients, but as a preference, how do you prefer to price your projects for your clients?
Well, I think I've been changing, all these years. I used to do hourly before.
Mm-hmm.
My hourly rate was super low in the beginning. I started as low as like $10 or something like that, and it got yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere,
You got to start
and
somewhere.
yeah, and well, right now I kind of like I use the value based projects. So it depends. It really depends on what kind of client you're working. Well, I saw some smoke coming here. Okay, sorry.
No, that's the love
Um,
part. That's the support.
oh my God, that's a love thing. I thought someone could. Okay, yeah, that's not my
Welcome to
room.
Instagram
Yeah,
Live.
I'm not in my environment here, so I really don't know
That's
what's
fine.
gonna happen. So yeah, so basically it always depends on the kind of client I have, the kind of repercussion the job is gonna have, right? And yeah, I still use hourly, but not that much. So for example, if I give a quote and value-based quote, you know, like based on certain things that we can talk about. And then if you like, if I give you some feedbacks, or if I give you some, you know, some exact things that I'm gonna do, if you need something else after, I'm probably gonna charge you hourly based. I think that's how you do it as well.
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
most
right.
part.
So if, yeah, I mean, if you want, for example, the hourly based, I do, for example, when a client wants some job in vectors or something like that, then I charge hourly, even though I don't know if I should, but yeah, I kind of do it like that, you know. So that's probably the only, yeah, the only thing I do hourly after. Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know if
if
that,
I was to split it, I would say that I do about 10% of hourly stuff. And even then, it tends to be either overflow or with clients that just have way too open briefs. Like they go, oh, we'll need you for something, but haven't really defined the scope. And a lot of the time, I kind of sit there and go, well, rather than it being I'll charge you hourly and we'll see how we go, I end up saying, okay, well,
yeah,
I'll charge you hourly, but we'll do it in like packs of 5 or 10. And then when we get to like hour 4 or 9, I can sit there and go, hey, we've still got about 6 hours worth of work to do because of X, Y, and Z. It's up to you as the client to say, well, that's okay, we can add the hours, or well, let's change the priority, just get the one thing done and forget the rest.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
found
think
that value was really good, but it's really hard to kind of work out
it
what the
is.
value is. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is. And I think it probably changes, you know, depending on a lot of things. So I guess, you know, maybe if I end up liking the project, it's gonna be another thing, you know. Maybe if I really don't like what I'm gonna do, but I, you know, let's say that I need the money, or I consider that the money could be a nice opportunity to grow my business, then I'll probably charge differently. So it really depends. I think, at least for the ones that are getting started, I think the hourly is really good, you know, for the beginning, because then it kind of makes you understand how much it takes you to do certain jobs, you know, and then you kind of know. So for example, I have a studio with my partner Thea, who's not here right now, and she is really good in pricing as well. When, you know, because for example, even though I charge value based, I really need to know the time that I'm going to invest in certain things, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, when we were taking on mural work, it was kind of tricky, because for me, you know, it would be like, okay, I'm going to charge you this much because I think it's going to take me around that time, and then I'm going to consider what kind of brand you are. But I have to multiply this by 5, 6, 7, you know, it depends on. So yeah, I know that there is someone who's really good at this. You know, little Maggie from Little Patterns.
Yep.
I was
I
listening to
may
a.
or may not have Maggie on next week.
Then I'm not gonna
We've
spoil her techniques, but yeah. So, but I kind of know that she knows how much is every job, and she was saying with Scotty from Perspective Podcast that she kind of nails it, right? So she knows that this is going to take me 14 hours and a half, and it's usually like that. Well, I'm the contrary. I really don't know sometimes, and that's why I
yeah.
need Taya, because she's the realistic one, and I'm not. So yeah, I think like it's teamwork, and then I also, you know, maybe if it's the first time in certain job, then you don't know exactly how much you should charge or something like that. But I think as you get comfortable with certain things, like for example, now I'm really into packaging, and that's one of the only things that I'm taking on currently, because I'm doing other things that we're going to talk about it after. So yeah, I kind of know how much it's going to take me. So then the value base is really like, I kind of know how much to charge based on both things, right? Based on what kind of brand I'm working with, and based on my time, if that
Yeah,
makes
and
any
that
sense.
ends up being a bit of a qualifier for you of, you know, if it sounds a little bit elitist at sometimes, but we kind of have to value our time and our effort and our energy as creatives. And so if the brand isn't big enough or doesn't have a big enough budget to cover what the value is, it sometimes can feel like you're letting them down. But realistically, you're protecting yourself, you're guarding yourself against being taken advantage of. And I don't know about you, but I've had many times that I've looked back on projects after I've completed them, or it could be the week, the month, the year, couple of years afterwards, and gone, okay, that's a learning lesson. I should have charged different. I should have priced my worth different for that, because that website that took me X amount of hours and I only charged out at $2,500, they made their return on investment in the first month. And you sit there and you go, it took me longer to get the information out of them and build the website and get it all done than it did to actually get their return on investment.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
It's a struggle. Kind of a balance.
There is a lot of things that go into this that we probably don't think about in the beginning. For example, I recently started hiring a lawyer. That's something that was
I'm saying mine tomorrow.
My brain. Yeah, I mean, that's something that it didn't even cross my mind like a couple of years back. And now I really want to protect myself. And yeah, like sometimes I, after talking to the lawyer, I realized that this job is really not what I was supposed to get. Or
yeah,
sometimes, the project can be really exciting, but then the lawyer tells me like, listen, these people want something that you cannot offer them, or, they are trying to, I don't know, get all the copyrights for something that they shouldn't get.
Yeah.
Or, all that thing, So I think you have to count not just how much it's going to take you to do the illustration, but also how much it's going to take you to actually chat with them, go back and forth. And then
do they have any red flags? Do they have any things that you need to tackle and kind of price in? I affectionately refer to them as FAFs, so F around fees. The extra dollars, cents, and zeros that you put on the end of the cost to justify how much it's going to take. And
yeah,
sometimes they have to happen. You can't avoid them. And if you try to avoid them, you end up coming up short.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what would you say your best lesson you've learned in pricing?
The best lesson I've learned, and I don't know if it's the best or the worst, but I think it was that underpricing. It's something that I should never do. And again, you're gonna underprice in the beginning because you're afraid. And I get that. Like, you have to pay the bills, and at some point that's what you're gonna do, right? You're gonna underprice because you're afraid that you're gonna lose a job or something like that. But then, after so much time working, I realized that underpricing just got me to work with worst clients, that I was taking on stress that I didn't necessarily need. And by the end of the day, my portfolio was just building up with those things that I wasn't really in tune with, right? So I think after a while, I realized that, listen, it's better to price correctly based on your needs. And instead of getting 10 clients, you get one client that's gonna pay you what 10 clients would together, right? So I think that's the best thing I've learned. And listen, sometimes I think I still undervalue myself, because we all do it sometimes, and it's something that it's really difficult to get rid of. But I think that would be the best lesson I've learned. What about you though? I would like to know.
Okay, so I'd probably say the best lesson I learned was to stop pricing the jobs like it was coming out of my pocket, because that was the biggest one to kind of knock me sideways, really, because we're sitting there going, oh, that's too expensive. No, well, it's too expensive for you because you yourself wouldn't pay that, but you don't know if they would pay it for themselves. I think that we've all been guilty of that, hovering above the send and then just going, just take a little bit more off. And then you take it off, and then you send it and they accept it and you're like, damn it, I could have maybe gotten away with it.
Right.
And I've already now devalued myself, I've given myself a pay cut, which, you know, before, like you kind of sit there and go, well, what was the point? What was the point of that to get it? Because now you're entering into a job with even more kind of defeated, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. I think I also lost clients because of it, and it's something that I'll never know, right? Because I think 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I got like a couple mails from bigger brands, and they wanted some graphics, or I think one wanted to rebrand the whole thing, and I probably said like, yeah, it's gonna be like around $500, you know, or 300 or something like that. That I was, you know, at the time I was like, hey, I can. That's half of a paycheck in my country, right? So that was like, okay, I could go with it. And I never heard back from them, and I think they just considered me a really unprofessional human being, and that's why I never got response. But I'm not sure, because you know they didn't tell me, so I would rather for them to tell me, hey, you're just doing it badly, and then probably I would, you know. But it took me a lot of time to actually think that was probably the reason why I never heard back from them. So
yeah. I mean, I feel like it's the equivalent of if you buy fast food, you know it's going to not be amazing. So you go in with the expectation that it's going to be cheap, and therefore your expectations are lower. But then if you had something that was like this beautiful banquet, and you know it's going to satisfy, and you know that everyone around you has said it's amazing, it's incredible, you should eat this, you should try this. And then you go and get a burger and you're like, oh, I could have had that better, I guess.
You're just gonna feel bad afterwards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's gonna be a lot of bad triggers after going to this McDonald's, and I mean, and listen, sometimes I like to be treated that way. Sometimes I go to McDonald's because I expect
you just like being treated cheaply, Jimbo?
Once a year is fine.
Merry Christmas. But Moya actually is in the comments at the moment. She said, 100% agree. Your pricing sends a message about the value of your work. If you're cheap, they'll think you're crap. And there's nothing worse than a repeat crap, cheap client. Like if they just keep coming back for more, and you have to have that conversation with them. One of, well, my rates are more now because I've realized how much of a pain in the ass you are.
Right.
Or two, like you're going to be sitting there and going, I don't want to work for you again, but you keep coming back, and I need to get out of my scarcity mindset of like, no, it's okay. I'm able to and allowed to say no when the work is not what I want. Exactly.
And I think, you know, in a second we're going to be talking about diversifying and all that, and I think, you know, you can learn how to say no by diversifying, which again, we're going to talk about it in a second. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, like what's been the hardest is that, you know, for example, you have one of those regular clients that have been coming to you for a while, and you realize that, you know, you're underpricing in general, not just with that particular one, but then so I'm a person that really, like, our studio really is about creating personal connections with our clients, and I think that's like one of our best friends, Almira. I think she might see this at some point, and we did some kombucha brand for her, and we
that
became
brand is gorgeous.
But you know, thanks, Jess. We enjoyed so much, and I think you can see that we enjoyed so much because we just pour ourselves into it, and at some point we didn't even mind if we spent more time, if you know, because she is now one of our best friends, right? So and I really love that. So sometimes if it's just a client that comes to you just because of work, it's quite difficult to say, hey, we got to step back, because right now I'm charging a bit more. I think that can be daunting for a lot of people, like especially these clients that have helped you grow. But at some point, that's an awkward conversation that you have to start having, right? And I think once you had it a couple times, then it becomes just a thing, and then you can really, by the end of the day, you can part ways. And it's been awesome working with these people, and you know, like you don't have to be working with them forever for the same prices forever, and that's something that it's
100%.
really, really hard. Yeah.
I think that was one thing I learned, that sometimes firing a client is actually the best thing for your mental health. And it sounds so counterintuitive and so reactive of being like, no, I will not give you my services. But realistically, if you're exchanging your mental health for the paycheck, it's just not worth it. It's not. It sounds like such a far cry from normal, but you're allowed to actually enjoy your day to day. You're allowed to be happy in your job, and you're allowed to enjoy the clients that you work with. It's not unattainable. It just requires you putting boundaries in, saying no to the shit you don't want to do, and charging for the time that you have. So much easier said than done, but kind of like, you know, no one's going to be sitting there and going, I'm just going to have one chip. You're going to have a whole bag of chips, and you're going to slowly make your way through. But each one of those you need to kind of build on and create that chip house. Can you tell I like food? But yeah, it's definitely, and Moya actually also brought up a really good point, and I love that you're here, Moya. It makes me really happy. That McDonald's is fine, but you don't want to have it every day. And so I think that really leads nicely into the idea of a diversified income. So you're wanting to have lots of different things to be able to make up your business. Now, if I was to say who is someone who does diversified income right, you're one of the first people that comes to mind, for the mere fact that you look like you're doing a lot of different things. Plus, I personally know that you do other things behind the scenes. So you've got your, like, front facing would be your Procreate stuff and your digital resources and your YouTube stuff. And it seems like you're spinning so many plates on the outside, and then you've got all your client work that you then post through as well. So do you recommend a diversified income, which I'm assuming you do, and how has it impacted your business?
Okay. I can be talking about this the whole day. I love it, and I have to thank a lot of people, especially all people from Design Cuts, that have helped us so much.
I feel like you should have like a little award. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, and also also I gotta thank Thea, my partner, and Max from Lettering Daily, if he's ever to watch this. You know, because hi Max. So, you know, it's okay. I'm gonna start from the beginning a little bit, because I think that, you know, if I build up on that, it's gonna make sense after. You know, I think Thea and I started the studio back in 2016 or something, and by that time we were just taking jobs, you know, just to pay the bills. Again, we were doing things we didn't enjoy, but it was better than having a 9-to-5 job, you know, that for sure. At least that's what I thought at that time. That I think that was better. But at some point, it kind of builds up this stress, you know. And what happened? It's that. Sorry, I'm gonna drink water. What happened is that, you know, we would get into months like August, or some Aprils were not that good, or even December, or, you know, things like that we didn't have a single client, right? So basically, we were living by paycheck, you know, like paycheck after paycheck, and that was our thing. And again, I thought we had a successful business because both were in the same thing. We started at the same time, and we were living out of one business model, right? One Xiaoben, that was our brand, right? So it was nice. But then we realized that we needed some, you know, again, to diversify our income, because we couldn't just be there waiting for clients or you know, because we wanted to, so it was kind of the switch in between being a freelancer and being a business owner, right?
Yeah.
And this is a transition that I'm still doing right now. I kind of suck at it sometimes, but you didn't hear it, right? I know. We're not in YouTube, so it's
But you
fine. I can
don't
say
look
that.
like it. You don't look like you suck at it. And that's what is so important, is because, you know, it's like a Zumba class. Everyone's just trying to do the moves and make the things happen, and no one's watching you.
Yeah.
But you look like you're doing the right things, and you're doing so many different things and doing them well. I was even talking to Becca, Happy Ever Crafter, and I said to her, it feels like you've got everything on lock. And she goes, I'm just doing what I can when I can. And
Exactly.
that's so
Exactly.
true. So
Exactly.
true.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever have the feeling that you have your shit together. For me, it's just, you know, and especially with our lifestyle that now we are based in Croatia, and right now we are in Barcelona, and we kind of try to enjoy life traveling at the same time working in co-working spaces. When we come back home, we have our studio, you know, but it's really difficult to actually set up a routine that makes you feel like that every day makes you feel like you did a lot. Like, for example, yesterday I was doing keyword research, and I was doing certain things that Instagram doesn't expect me to do, you know, like I put all these brushes out and all these things, but there's a lot of things behind the scenes that I have no clue of, right? And I'm really trying to improve. And like, for example, right now we hired Beripod, that is it's a like marketing studio that helps us you know, manage our newsletter campaigns and our Instagram
Got
and
mine.
all. Yeah. And well, yes, I hi to them as well. And thanks to them, I kind of allow myself to do like to spend more time in things I feel passionate about, right? So I think in the end, it was more like this transition from being a freelance and just taking jobs to having a business, and kind of understanding that you should be doing things you like in your time, even though you're kind of like a Swiss knife, because you have to do a lot of things in the beginning. But I think in the end, you can start letting things go, and something that it's taking me ages. And that's why I say that I suck at all these things, because yeah, I kind of have like knowledge of how to diversify my income, but I don't really like. And so, and in the end, it's just you trying new things and see if it convinces you, right? So, and that we're coming back to the story that when we realized that, yeah, because I kind of went somewhere else. I'm sorry, guys.
I loved it. It was great. It was a good little segue
talking.
travel. We're back.
Yeah. So yeah, coming back to that thing that we didn't have clients in August, right? We were like, okay, let's do something else, right? So we just started doing certain products for Procreate. We started teaching people things. Our Instagram platform kind of became more like an educational company, you know, like we kind of understood what especially my Instagram people wanted from me, because I never like, I didn't get a lot of jobs, right, through Instagram. Why? Well, because my hashtags were always based on lettering community, right? So I built up this following, and I didn't know what they wanted from me until I started asking them, like, okay, I'm trying to switch to something. What do you want from me? Please tell me, right? And asking a simple questions like really changed my life, right? Because they started like, we wanna learn certain, you know, techniques, lettering techniques. We would like to see how you do the textures in your lettering. And I started like, that's interesting. And then I started researching stuff. And then I put out our first Procreate brush set, right? Rough and Raw, which
I have.
Which you have. And it was our little baby that has 12 brushes. We had no clue if that was gonna sell. We spent a couple of months doing it. and yeah, we started selling it, right? And we saw like this awesome response from all the community that, you know, made us think like, listen, this could actually work, right? So we started getting in contact with design cuts. Tom has helped us a lot.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, like
I think you
Match
and I
for
have been on design cuts for I don't even know how many years. Like I was looking back through like my old stuff that I downloaded on the design cuts platform, and I'm thinking like it's a good 8, 9 years, maybe even like I think they only did 10th birthday recently, but I'm pretty sure it's been a really, really long time.
yeah,
And it's because it's always been a really great resource and a really good spot to go and find the stuff that everyone else isn't using. Like you have so many times where you see, okay, there's that mock-up, there's that mock-up, there's that image, there's that mock-up, there's
exactly,
that font that everyone else is using, and it just becomes that when you use it yourself, you just become part of the noise. And the worst thing you can do is become part of the noise because it's just no one's going to listen to you.
exactly. And I think they offered so much value right from the beginning. I remember that 8 years ago, I also started downloading all these monthly
Mm-hmm.
bundles, you know, for my design work, and I had mockups for every kind of job I could imagine, right? So, and they also they were hugging us so much, you know. We felt so good with them. Their
Mm.
community was awesome, and it kind of became our community as well. So that I think was the first thing that I tried to do regarding like passive income and kind of, you know, diversifying my kind of business. So
Yeah.
and I can do a little list, you know. So that for example is the clients that we take now. We can like handpick more clients than before, right? Because now we
Yeah.
have this pillow that is our products that make us survive and live, right? So at the moment, I'm taking, well, I think we are taking like 3 clients a year, 4 clients a year tops.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
that's,
huge.
and we, you know, okay, maybe last year we took 5 or something, but now we feel so comfortable that we will be able to maintain our lifestyle, right? That I do not need certain clients that don't make me happy, right?
Yeah.
And again, that's, you know, when I talk about it, I feel like the imposter syndrome comes back and like, hey,
Oh yeah.
you have all these people reaching out, like you should be working for all of them, and wow, you're so lucky. That I'm not lucky, guys. Like really, like I don't think there's sorry, some messages are popping here. I don't think we get a lot of requests, but the ones we get, we really consider if it's really good for us or for our
Mm.
business or not. And so right now, we are in a mission of just taking jobs that go with our style. We have built this super colorful style around ourselves, and if we show some something in Behance or in our website, it has to be something that aligns with our values and our style. And that's
And something that you want to be hired for. Crazy.
exactly, exactly. So so it takes years. It took. I'm in the business for 8 years, I think. So it took time, but at the end, I think if you listen to the right people and talk to the right people and kind of, you know, and if you're eager to keep learning all the time, I think you get there, you know, by time. And by no means I'm there. No way. There's a long road, but
Hmm.
but that's the mission, right? And the third
Yeah, for
thing,
sure.
if yeah, exactly. And then here kind of comes the third thing that I was talking before. So clients, brushes, and now we wanted to build a learning platform. And that's, you know, I started doing it in Instagram, and we recently opened our YouTube channel, and we post there monthly tutorials and all that stuff. We are growing a newsletter. Like we really believe in the sense of community, and we're trying to build
Hmm.
one. And it's so rewarding, you know. I know it's rewarding to have clients, but to have a like-minded creative community around yourself, it's
Yeah.
so good, you know. and I love talking to people. I love helping as much as I can. And I think Thea and I are really, happy that we can do so through our, website and all that. And so that's the third way of income. And that's why a couple of our products were just, learning based. So for example, we have the kickoff and we have this layout, lettering, and those two kind of teach you in Procreate how to become a master of letters, right? And
yeah, it's not so much
that,
the paintbrush, it's the technique. It's the actual learning and the knowledge
exactly.
behind being able to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. And you also have to understand that the market is changing. And I think, I love doing brushes, I love doing textures and all that, but I especially like when I teach people how to use those things so they can achieve their colorful goals, like we say with the,
Love.
So that's
awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like I think you and I are both in very similar boats, because I'm pretty sure that, okay, so it's Wednesday, 12th of May. Yeah, I can almost talk about it. So like today I can almost talk about it. Today I was finishing off some things for something that is coming up on the 1st of June. Some things, some stuff. And if you've been watching any of my Instagram stories, you would have seen some of the behind the scenes, and maybe something to do with this and maybe something to do with this. But going into that space of education and teaching is something that I think a lot of creatives are realizing what they actually know, and how much easier it is to be able to share it with people who are seeking that advice. I remember back when I was at TAFE, when I graduated my tertiary studies, I said to my mum I wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't want to study a teaching degree. I wanted to, the teachers that I learnt the best from were the ones that were still in the industry or had been in the industry. And the ones that I didn't resonate with kind of did the teaching thing and then chose art. And so, I have to remember Richard, he was my marketing teacher, and I remember everything that he taught me. And I remember it because he was in the industry. It was relevant information within the space. And so I feel like we're being afforded the opportunity now, as creatives who have been in the industry for 5, 6, 7, 10, I think I worked it out to be 14 years.
Wow.
That we now have a wealth of knowledge that we're ready and willing to share, but it has to be for those who seek it out. It has to be for those who want to learn. That was the big thing for me, was making sure that people wanted to learn what I was teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think now that we can do this in internet, I remember when I started teaching all that, everything was offline, right? So, and I love doing this, these workshops, like, because I really like the contact with people, and that's something sometimes I miss. But again, like the online situation kind of made me realize that there's so many beautiful people out there, and really, like, as yourself, I consider you a good friend, and I never seen you in person, but that, I think it doesn't matter anymore. You remember, like, back in 1995 when, people would meet in chats and all that, and everyone was like,
back in 1995. So when I was 6. Okay. Yeah,
maybe
totally.
2002. Would that make more sense? I don't know.
But yeah, no, definitely, like the MSN Messenger boards and
all that.
And I was looking back through old Facebook, because Facebook memories force the memories down your throat. And, I was asking on online forums, does anyone know how to price? Does anyone know how to do this? And we back then were shouting into the abyss and waiting for someone to come back and echo what we needed.
Yes.
So question for you then, if you could go back to young Jimbo, if you could go back to him, grab him by the shoulders, shake him and say, this is what you need to know, what would you tell him?
I'll travel back in time before I even started graphic design, and
Mm-hmm.
I would tell myself that I can actually make a good living out of this, even though nobody is telling me so. I cannot hear you. Oh, now I think so.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Okay, we're good. Hey, people, let us know if you can hear us. I think everything is fine now, though.
I can hear you. We'll just
Okay,
keep on
then.
having our own conversation.
All right. Let's go ahead then. So yeah, I think I would tell myself that I can really make,
Thanks,
and
babe.
that's something. Oh, awesome. Oh, look at him.
So supportive.
So yeah, he is. He is. I can see that. So yeah, that's something that that I can't stress enough. You know, a lot of people love doing certain things and they don't know if they can make a living. And I think nowadays you can make a living out of anything you want. Like, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
You can market anything. You can teach anything. You can just, you know, it's not easy, but you can literally do whatever you want, right? And I think a lot of my friends, maybe from childhood, kind of, you know, liked something, but they didn't get enough encouragement from certain individuals, and that made them not believe in what they were doing. And I think for me, like, my parents have been always been behind me in a way that we're gonna put the pillow for you, you won't fall, just do whatever the fuck you want. And actually, yeah, it was so cool, you know, because I was doing some informatics, I was going to, you know, do more like a tech career, kind of, because I thought that would be the future, and that's what they told me. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And then I failed physics, uh like, and maths and all that, and my parents were like, just, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I really don't know. So I went to a school and I started painting and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
then there I actually discovered that graphic design was a thing, right? So I'm not saying that I discovered it late in life, but probably if someone would have talked about it when I was 15 instead of 21, probably that could have, you know, or maybe not. Listen, maybe those experiences I had
I
kind
think
of
it's
made me
just a
realize.
pathway
So
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
think so. Yeah,
you
yeah,
you are the sum of your experiences. I mean, I personally originally moved to Melbourne because I got accepted into a musical theatre degree, and so I did that for a year. I was a
yeah.
Lady Gaga impersonator. I used to perform for musical theatre and performance pieces, but after a year, crashed and burned, hated everything about it, and was not interested anymore. So, you know, you find your passions where and when they call you, and it's just going to add to your story.
That
But
makes a lot
yeah,
of sense. Yeah, I love it.
the
And yeah,
musical theater part or the all of it.
no, the doing something that you kind of hate in the end, you know, because maybe that drives you to do something else, right? So I think maybe the question can actually be answered in a way that, you know, nothing. I wouldn't even have told myself nothing, you know, because probably that would make sense what you just said, you know, that
Yeah.
maybe life is going to take you there. And probably if, you know, if you give if you travel in time and you say, listen, this design thing, probably I wouldn't have hated the physics class and the teacher. And then probably i I wouldn't even have this drive that made me do
Yeah.
this, you know. So that makes
And
sense,
I
I
feel the
guess.
same way about my musical theatre stuff is because, you know, I now feel that I can perform for my clients. I feel like I can use some sense of theatrics when it comes to presenting stuff without it being just like a, here's my design. Like it's gonna be, it's got that flair to it. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
it's,
let me
there you
know.
go.
No, just I wanted to add something else. I was previously working in an ad agency, and even though I learned a lot of things, probably, you know, if I could travel in time, I would be like, hey, you don't have to do all these things. But I think, coming back to what, you know, to the conclusion of the question, that, you know, maybe being in an ad agency made me realize that I didn't want to have a boss, yada yada yada, right? So So probably that also gave me the tools and you know, and told me that this is not made for me, right? So I can just step down and just be my own boss, right? So yeah, that's it. That was I wanted to add those 5 cents.
It's all finding kind of, you know, finding your own flavor, finding what your unique flavor is that you can offer, and kind of banking on that. Keep baking it. If people are responding to it, keep responding back. But make sure that you charge your worth. You revisit that worth constantly, just to make sure that you're still on track, and, you know, have these kind of conversations where you go, hey, so I was thinking of charging this much. Do you think that's too much? Or do you think that's right? Or do you think I could be charging more?
Yeah. And also, and now I gotta shout you out, because you helped me so much doing these things, you know. And yeah, like a lot of my techniques come from you, and I'm really happy, you know, that we build this, you know, online relation, you know, that whenever we have a struggle, we can just talk, you know. And by having this community, it's like, for example, right, you're based in Australia, I'm based in Europe. If I have a client from Australia that happened in the past, and I'm like, hey, can you maybe give me, you know, 5 cents of what's happening in Australia? You know, what would be a reasonable, you know, because Europe and America, or you know, all this, it just works differently.
Completely different.
And for me, Australia is something so far that I don't even know the, you know, like the paychecks and all that. So I kind of, as well, before knowing a client, I also know a bit of the industry, and so it helped me so much that time that you actually, you know, gave me some observations about some pricing, and yeah, thanks, Jess. That was
no
awesome.
worries. And that's the thing, is that, you know, the exciting part of that was that I got to be on that journey with you of going, okay, and what did they say, and what are you going to come back with? And then, you know, all the way down the track of looking at what happened at the end and reverse engineering and working out, you know, how do we take that information into the next spot or the next job, or how do we protect ourselves, or all that sort of stuff, and all of the learning experiences that we're able to kind of reflect on at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to probably wrap up, because I am starving. I have spaghetti bolognese happening at home for me. I'm going to have a spaghetti bolognese and a glass of red wine. But before we sign off, there's 2 things I want to add to all the wonderful people in the comments. One, if you're wanting to grab some of the awesome brush packs, Procreate, learning experiences, and also head to the YouTube of this guy here. So if you head to shoutbam.com/ban-freebies, it is linked in the comments as well. But if you also head to his profile, you'll be able to grab your hands on some of the free Procreate brushes and packs that I actually use in a lot of my work as well.
Yeah. There's a bunch of freebies right now. Like we've been piling them up.
Those patterns are amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Candice. Yeah, I love the latest pack she said. She did.
That's awesome.
I enjoyed so much.
Yeah. And my freebie, my little freebie, is, if you sign up to, if you head to easyasPiePricing.com.au, I have a free Easy as Pie pricing guide that helps you break down the 3 main pricing structures and strategies that you can have. So hourly, value-based and project-based, looks at the pros and cons, and a little bit of a secret. Anyone who's downloaded that gets to put on my mailing list, which I send out some kind of tips and tricks with pricing your work and how to do life as a graphic designer, as a freelancer. And also you may get early bird notifications on that little thing that's coming up. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
Maybe you will. I think you will, guys. Yeah.
So that URL is easyasPiePricing.com.au, and download there. Jimbo, thank you so much for being on here and being my first wonderful guest on here.
I'm so happy to be here, and yeah, as I told you, to be the first one, you know, no pressure, so that's good.
No
I love
pressure.
it.
Just
I
go and
love
have a
it.
coffee beforehand and sit in the piazza.
Exactly. So no, yeah, I'm gonna
Exactly.
start my now I'm gonna, have some breakfast. Yeah, and start working on something that I'm bringing next week. Yeah, another tutorial in my YouTube channel. So let's see.
Yes.
Well, thank you
Awesome,
so
guys.
much, Jess.
And thank you everyone for being here in the comments. I'm really, really appreciating you being here and being part of my table.
Oh, Jess,
Thanks, guys.
someone asked before if this is gonna be saved or what.
Yeah, so straight after this slide, I'm going to download the whole thing, chuck it on my IGTV, and I can let you know when it's all posted.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. I'll see you soon.
Mwah. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ciao.